Coming up today, a report from our designing Texans, make that plural, indoors and out. We take a trip to the hills and we spend some time with our friend Bruce. From our Designing America vault, a tribute to the legendary baseball coach of UT. Designing Texas starts now. Again, everybody, I'm Jocelyn White and welcome to the April edition of Designing Texas, where our motto is upscale living with a down-home heart. Now, we're talking about a lot of spring things, so what better place to use as our set than the Dallas Arboretum and Botanical Garden. Each year's signature spring event is Dallas Blooms. This year the theme is a world of flowers. Now over 500,000 spring blooming bulbs were planted, plus 3,000 azaleas and our 150 cherry trees. Last year nearly 200,000 visitors came to help us bring in spring. And even though the Dallas Blooms officially ends today, the flowers don't know that, so come on out anyway. Two big events here in April, Mad Hatters this coming Thursday and Artscape on Saturday and Sunday the 28th and 29th. Beautiful. You know, another indication of spring is baseball, of course, and it brings to mind our visit with Augie Garrido for Designing America years ago. Augie, of course, was the winningest coach in college baseball history, and he was at the University of Texas at Austin, and we visited him and his place in an Austin high-rise.
Wanted an open space, more of a loft type environment, kind of more of, you know, urban living in a sense that kind of, you know, just a different feel.
For University of Texas baseball coach Augie Garrido and Jeannie Grass, that different feel is at the Nakona, an upscale Austin high-rise. Here they get exactly what they're looking for with the aid of Austin architect Dick Clark.
We've known Dick for a long time, and so we've been fascinated by his work, not only his restaurant work, but his residential work. And he always has a feel for function as well as fashion. And I think that he combined both of those things here. And we knew he could do whatever needed to be done and do what was best for the space. So we started out by looking for the cornerstone of what we were going to do, something real from Texas. And what that ended up being was the granite countertops, which are unique and at least to us. And the name of it's Texas Brown Pearl, and it's quarried here in Texas. And it's a combination of black and chocolate browns. From there we borrowed some ideas from a friend of ours that has a beach house in California. And we kept trying to match up the woods, and we would go to light woods on the floors and on the walls because it was a small space, so we started with common thinking. And then we knew we had a responsibility to lighting it properly, to keep the feeling, and also putting the mirrors in. And we decided, again, because of the small space, to let texture determine the color. And what we stayed with was a simple color design. The palette is very small. It's chocolate brown in this room, and it just kind of takes on different shades of chocolate brown because of the different textures. And we scaled everything down because the ceiling level is low. So it became important to make this feel as big a space as we possibly could. Take your eye off the ceiling and bring your eye down to where the beauty is.
This couple, Augie and Jeannie, obviously love their new lifestyle. But there's one thing, you don't see a lot of Augie accolades here.
Well, I appreciate and I like to share with Jeannie the work of other people. We already know what we do, and the symbols or the rewards of what we do, we recognize that as something we appreciate It's about teamwork. It belongs to everyone. And really, those awards don't define us. They just make us feel good for everyone involved. It isn't out of a lack of respect. It's because we would much rather surround ourselves with other brilliant things, things that matter to us because of other people's brilliance, and that energizes our life.
Bottom line?
It's a usable space that belongs to everyone we know, and our joy in that is sharing it.
Augie Garrido, what a great guy. And speaking of another great guy, Gary Riggs, who's overseeing a home in Frisco being taken down to the studs. Here's our designing Texan.
Well, as you can see, today we're going to be in a home that is under a massive reconstruction phase here. So what I'm going to do is take you on a tour of the house. So let's go ahead and start right here in the living room and kind of show you what's happening there, and then we'll describe a little bit of what's going to come. As you can see, massive space, really, really tall ceilings, big stone fireplace. You can see from the work on the walls that wall colors are going to be changing. We're smoothing out things. We've got an incredibly huge oil painting that's going to go on the big wall here. And you're going to be able to see all of the colors pulled out of it that are coming into the sofa and chairs and things. So it's going to be rich teals and fuchsia, some purples, and even into some reds. We've got a striped fabric that's going to really introduce all of the spectrum of colors that'll be used in this room. One of the best things about this house is that the master bedroom's actually kind of got its own entry. So we're going to do some magnificent things here that are going to actually set the tone as you come into the bedroom. The bedroom's going to be in some really nice neutrals, soft grays, silvers, blues, some very strong blues. The drapes are going to be a beautiful linen that's going to have a print on it. And then all of those colors then are going to transition into the master bathroom. So right now we're inside of the kitchen, as you can see, and there's a lot of renovation that's been going on here. The breakfast area in here is going to have red chairs in it. It's going to be really good looking with dark legs, and then the table is just kind of a smoky, beautiful round table that everything will go around. So in here then is a really large space. So we had a real challenge here. So what we're doing is we're going to give a couple of seating areas, but and yet if there's a large group, it becomes one. These colors in here are going to pull the reds that are coming from the kitchen and breakfast room area. We're going to do a lot of soft taupes and some charcoal colors, even a little bit of whimsy with some zebra. And so it's going to be a really comfortable space. It's going to really come together nicely. So now what we're going to do is go into the office. You're going to see here that the walls are in a very dark, rich wood. So we're going to go ahead and paint this paneling. What we're going to do though is keep the ceiling in the dark, rich wood so that it isn't all totally lost. And then really the coloration for this room is coming from the linen that's going to be the drapery. This is all that we're going to have time to show you today. But as you can see, there's a lot of changes in store for this home. It's a beautiful place, and we're excited to be a part of it. There's going to be a great piece here in the entry that we're standing in. We've got the dining room here that's going to have some really nice things. Dining table that's going to surprise you. It's such a beautiful piece. The other thing is next month, be sure and tune in because we're going to finally see the home that we did in Raleigh, North Carolina that we worked on for over a year. It came together, and now we're going to be able to show you what that turned out like. Thank you for joining us. This is Gary Riggs with Gary Riggs Home.
Still to come, the Hills of Kingswood. And after our trip to the hills, our Designing Texan Outdoors has some great advice for your flower garden. It's a great time to visit the beautiful hills. Jocelyn White with my partner, John Zazelka, and we're at home in the Hills of Kingswood. Today, though, we're at the Arboretum talking about spring, although I must say spring at the Hills of Kingswood is something pretty special.
It is, Jocelyn, and I'm so happy to be here with you today on this gorgeous spring day because it really is indicative of what we have out at the Hills of Kingswood. The reason that we bought the property so many years ago was that it was so completely unusual, like the Arboretum is completely unusual, and it has thousands of acres, literally, of green space that surrounds our property, and then we created hundreds of acres of green space within our property, and so we also have the elevations that nobody else has. We have literally a 660-foot elevation, which is 60, 70 feet above everything else in Frisco. And so we have this unbelievable view of all of Frisco laid out before you in the distance, which is the key. And we're surrounded by greenbelt, which is also the key to our property. And if you walk down through our property, through our private park, to the creek, you'll actually see in the clear, clean water trout swimming. Yes.
The Hills is really all about a family atmosphere, and we certainly have that here at the Arboretum today. But the Hills of Kingswood has so much to offer, whether you're retiring there or raising a family there.
It really is, Jocelyn. We could have literally done 3 times the number of properties that we've created at the Hills of Kingswood, but we wanted that privacy and that separation. And we also have some homes that are, that are perfect for raising families that we've also established. And we have something that nobody else has, and that is that we will sell and want to sell to private individuals. And those private individuals can then bring their imagination, their architects, their dreams and their plans and do it at the Hills of Kingswood. And we have a big selection of builders that we've talked about in this show, and they're wonderful people. And some of those builders I know we'll talk about a little bit today, but we have so many. I encourage you to come out and meet with Sharon Webb, who knows every builder like her brothers and sisters.
This is true.
And Sharon will pair you up with 2 or 3 builders, and you choose your builder, you choose your architect, you choose your lot, and we will welcome you with open arms to build something special at home in the Hills of Kingswood.
You know, you mentioned the builders, and we had our little show home of Phase 1 not too long ago. We'd had our little grand tour and got to visit some magnificent homes, but there's one in particular I want to share, and I have a reason for it that we'll talk about after you look at the piece, because it was that amazing Christian Custom Homes by Philip Carter.
Yes, Jocelyn, and that's where I like to have people focus on the views and on the unusual nature of building literally on the side of a hill, which gives you something that's unparalleled and you can't compare anywhere else in the city of Frisco.
Take a peek. Philip Carter with Christian Custom Homes has built a house that is truly one of a kind. So tell me what it is about this house that makes it stand out.
Well, the lot, number one, we're on the highest elevated lot in Frisco. So we are looking over the city lights of Frisco, and behind us we have Corps of Engineers Preserve that can't be built on. So it's a sea of beautiful trees. So I would say that's the first and foremost thing, is building a home that suits this view.
This was something that took shape in your mind. How did you envision it, and how has it come to fruition?
We literally were looking for a Hollywood Hills type home, and something that was so impressive and one of a kind that we could use the elevation of this lot. And we've created a golf course setting here, lighted golf course, and multi-level Vegas style pool with grotto and 20-foot waterfalls. It's just over the top entertainment, beautiful. Amazing.
And that's on the outside. You go on the inside and it's pretty spectacular as well. What are some of your favorite features?
We've got 10,000 square feet here, and it's truly custom from start to finish. We've got Amish made wood floors, beams from Oregon, stoves from France. We've got an indoor basketball court. It's just truly impressive. Everywhere you look, the spa, bathroom, the 75 setting rain heads, everything's custom from start to finish.
But let me just say, it's glam for the gals, and take a look at her closet. That master suite is sweet.
Yes, we call it country chic, if you will. So we've got something for her and something for him. So what we try to do is hit it down the middle of the fairway, where literally you've got anything and everything you could ever want. This was a work of art for us to showcase what we could do and the lot and the view, and I think we've hit a home run here. This one's irreplaceable.
That house of Philip Carter's is a great example of the unusual and interesting things that builders can do with homes in the hills, but also something Mother Nature provided, and that was that view.
Yes, indeed, and that's really what attracts a lot of folks to the Hills of Kingswood. So we're opening another phase, so we have more of those spectacular lots and views available to all of you that come out to the Hills of Kingswood.
And we're at home in the Hills of Kingswood. We want you to be too. We'll see you next month. Right, John?
Yes, Jocelyn, thanks again.
You bet. Welcome back to this half of Designing Texas, and we turn to our pal Jennifer Terrell, who has this month's Build to Suit.
Well, welcome back to the next episode of Build to Suit on Designing Texas. I'm your host, Jennifer Terrell. Today we're going to be talking about finding the perfect lot to build your dream home on, which can be a challenge in today's market. So with me, I've invited Wyndham Bolter. He is the sales manager for Ron Davis Custom Homes, and he's going to be walking us through this process. Welcome, Wyndham.
Oh, Jennifer, thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. So tell me what is going on here. This is
No
crazy.
kidding. If you look back behind us 2 days ago, Jennifer, there was a home here, and we had cleared it away, and now the site is being prepared and compacted with the soils in preparation for one of our Ron Davis Custom Home designs.
So tell me about how you walk through this whole process of finding the perfect lot all the way through building on it.
It is a process, and so Ron Davis Custom Homes and Shirley Bolter Davis Realtors, they're committed to finding the right location and the right site to build one of our unique, one-of-a-kind Ron Davis Custom Homes. Earlier today, Jennifer, we had a conversation with a few other real estate agents about this process. When you're shopping around with your customers, what's one of the things that attracts you and your customers to a Ron Davis Custom Home?
Well, it's the quality,
Okay.
and also, and foremost, is Ron Davis himself.
I would say initially it's the design and the style and all the custom features that you know, in a Ron Davis Custom Home. Seems to be ahead of the curve as far as trends go. And it just seemed like the Ron Davis homes were always in a location that is very desirable.
So when we're looking for that perfect spot, we're careful with that, and we're also building innovative homes that are kind of cutting edge as well. So we blend in really well one way or the other, whether it be a French or a Mediterranean or a hill country modern or a farmhouse transitional modern, that kind of thing. This is what our customers are telling us that they want. So what we're doing on the real estate side is truly listening to what their needs are and then finding the spot that fits that need to perfection.
All of Dallas right now is clearly very hot, and most of the new construction, the land values have gotten so high that builders' price points just keep going up and up and up. It was really great that Ron Davis is able to make their product very quality with good craftsmanship, but keep the numbers a little more reasonable.
It might be the architect and Ron Davis that go out and look at it. It might need to be an engineer and the architect that go out and look at the lot. So we have people that are in place to be sure that this site that is selected is going to be the perfect setting to build this big, huge, beautiful new custom home.
I think the great thing about Ron Davis is it's a household name that you're familiar with when you walk in. The whole process is very seamless, so it's much easier for the agents and for the buyers to feel comfortable with the whole process.
I would say if I could bring every one of my clients, custom build clients to Ron Davis, I would, because the experience that I've had has been amazing.
What I tell people is that Shirley Bolter Davis Realtors is out there looking for you for a lot. Ron Davis Custom Homes is looking for you for a lot, and so is your personal realtor. So between the group, we find the perfect location.
Well, it sounds like you guys have a great team put together, Wyndham.
Thanks, Jennifer. Yes, Ron and Shirley, they do. They put together an important process for making it seamless and easy for their clients when they're building with us.
Well, I can tell. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this whole home on Northwood come together. It's exciting. And we look forward to hearing next from Bruce Russo on soil testing.
Caliche, gumbo, whatever the nickname is, it's expansive soil. Expansive soil when it comes to foundation, those two words in a sentence equals geotech engineering, always. There is such a big mix of soil throughout the Metroplex. Here in North Dallas versus Las Colinas to the mid-cities. Mid-cities is all sandy loam. So be aware of what kind of soil your house is being built on. If it's a new home, check with your builder, make sure he's done a geotech engineering report, he's done soil tests, and you know exactly what kind of foundation is required for the soil that your house is being built on.
Thanks, Bruce. That's great information on soil testing. Coming up in the next episodes, we're going to be meeting with the architect who designed this home on Northwood and with Burgess Consulting, who is overseeing the quality control process. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Build to Suit.
Thanks a lot, Jennifer. Now we go from build to suit to build it with Bruce. I'm talking about my friend Bruce Russo, of course, who is once again building a restaurant in Legacy West. He's actually in the middle of Kai, an Asian fusion restaurant. What's up, Bruce?
Our next project, Asian Fusion. As you see the patio directly above Toulouse, that's where we're headed next. Come on, we're under construction. I'll take you on a tour and show you what's going on. The entry to Ka, Asian Fusion. This is kind of, makes you feel like it's almost a bat cave. You're walking in with the big surprise upstairs. When you walk into Ka and you get to this point, it's decision time. What's it gonna be? Straight ahead, we have the Rabata grill. Rabata, that is an Asian type of cooking, very high temperature grill, thinly sliced protein, just seared and served. Here we'll have a huge seafood display with sushi to my right, and all this energy creates an amazing space to dine. To my left is the main dining room. Very kind of low key, still upbeat, has its own dining patio if you would like to eat on the patio, and it also has its own service bar. The great thing about this area of the restaurant is you see the sizzle and the flame from the Rabata grill behind me. It creates a tremendous, beautiful dining experience. As I enter the main dining patio here at Ka, one of two great patios that captures the energy of the entire Legacy West project. It's pretty phenomenal. And one thing about this patio is it's very, very viewable from downstairs. There is no better patio in Plano, Texas. As I mentioned, decision time when you enter Ka. We've decided to have a look at the other decision, which is the lounge area. Energy, energy, energy. If you can imagine the bass beating and the music going on, the sizzle and the flames from the Rabata grill through this huge glass window behind me, bringing you into a room full of people conversing and telling jokes and having fun. This is the lounge at Ka. Lounge patio behind me, the place to be in Plano, Texas, when the doors open here at Ka. Follow the progress on Facebook. See you next time on Build It with Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce. I cannot wait to see that one. On another front, how's your garden looking? Well, mine is not so hot, but I'm working on it with our Designing Texan Outdoors, Josh Bracken. I get my advice from the go-to guru of plants in Dallas-Fort Worth, and that would be Josh Bracken of Nicholson Hardy. Good to see you.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Good to see you. I appreciate that.
Okay, obviously the real planting season for spring has already kind of happened. But for those of us who are looking post-Easter at what can we do in our yards and gardens because we had all that rain, what would you suggest?
I've got some amazing things that will transition from now well into the summer very successfully.
Oh, good.
This is a new impatient called a sun patient that'll grow in full sun or it'll grow in shade. And the great thing about that, if you have a house that's got sun on one side and shade on the other, and you want a symmetrical look, boom, you can do those all the way across. Scaevola, this little guy, comes in this color and comes in purple. Now they're just coming on, but I remember years ago I was at Six Flags and it was August and it was ridiculously hot and these things were just going to town. Carolina Jessamine, our perennial vine that comes back every year, has these beautiful blooms. It's a nice cascading vine.
Yes.
This is a favorite of mine, Lady Banksia Rose. When they're in bloom, I mean, it's just a solid mass of yellow color. They're wonderful.
Let's talk about my childhood. This reminds me of South Arkansas and when I lived in New Orleans. And it's jasmine.
And lovely fragrant.
Oh my, it smells so good.
Okay, this is a very wonderful plant. This is a Farfugium. Tractor seat plant is the common name.
Well, because it looks like a tractor seat.
Exactly.
Check it out.
I kind of think of it as a better performing hosta for the Metroplex, because hostas can be kind of iffy here.
They're temperamental.
And they had these planted around several of the squares in Savannah when I was there in the fall, and breathtaking. Have a nice pretty yellow bloom on them too.
We're putting in window boxes at our barn, so I'm responsible for the plantings, and you say geranium.
This particular geranium, Calliope, will take the summer heat like no other geranium. There's also one called Caliente. And the great thing is the original ones that took the heat didn't really look like a geranium as much.
No.
And this looks like a traditional deep red geranium. One thing that does help is your favorite activity.
Yes.
Deadheading.
Deadheading. Can you tell I always have a good time with Josh? I do. And speaking of good times, how about this month's Deep in the Heart, which is all about eQuest, an organization using horses for therapy for those with autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. These horses make miracles every day. This year's event is on April 20th, and it's at the Bomb Factory. And as always, I want to thank you for the pleasure of your company today. We hope you'll join us again next month on the second Sunday, which is May 13th. Gee, is that Mother's Day? I think it may be. We'll see you then. In the meantime, though, home is where hope springs eternal and spring has sprung. See you next month.